Sometimes you feel like a hot boiling mess, and sometimes you just are a hot boiling mess. Today, my tea has gone cold already. I have tried to take a thumbnail photo like 100 times, and we'll see if we can get through this podcast together. I hope you're here for it. Uh, One of my favorite podcasts to watch, knitting related, is Gently Chaotic Knits. And I always feel that she brings that kind of like hot mess energy. And actually, I find it really entertaining. So maybe you do too. Anyway, welcome to episode. Let's try that again. Welcome to episode 65 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm Jamie, your host and the yarn dyer behind m1yarns.com. And I'm coming to you from Metro Detroit, Michigan, where I live with my husband, my 2 dogs, a pet turtle, and a whole bunch of yarn. And I know I got a lot of questions about the recent change to my background. It used to be all the yarn was like loose in these IKEA squares. But recently I decided that these crates, which I use for like yarn festival displays, really helped kind of like create drawers. Oh, it's bumping into something I have over there. Anyway, where I can just like pull out the drawer to find the skeins vertically that I'm looking for, rather than like, if you've ever organized one of these, if you use this for your stash at home, you know that it can get a little bit out of hand quite quickly. So while the crates are not like all that lovely to look at as opposed to a whole bunch of yarn, it's useful for me. And I think like we spend so much time talking about how do you organize stash, and as a yarn dyer, as a yarn business, organizing yarn is beyond just my stash, which I actually keep on a grid wall on the wall over here. Only because I really managed to like get it organized last year. I spent some time knitting through it, destashing it, etc. But I like it in a vertical format. Anyway, I'm on a tangent already. This is totally not what I intended on talking about. And we're 3 minutes into this podcast. Oh my God. Back to the Hot Mess Express. It's been quite a week for me. So I'm recording this on a Friday. Last Saturday morning, I woke up early in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. I woke up like basically in the middle of the night, itching all over. And when I woke up, I had hives all over my fingers, like around my cuticles and in the palm of my hand, which is still there and really angry and inflamed right there, and all over my legs. And I was itching. And I do have like allergies. Mold and dust are my primary ones, and I got allergy shots years ago. I don't think it did jack squat, but anyway. But I was like, oh my God, I'm clearly having some sort of reaction. So I went to urgent care, and they were like, oh my God, you have literally hives everywhere. And I'm like, I know, I'm itching to death. They gave me steroids, which I took all the way through yesterday. It did not go away. It got a little better around my fingers, although you can still see like this red. This is a hive. And then like this palm situation is awful. And let me tell you, my hands have been so uncomfortable this week that there were a few days where I could not knit at all. And my whole body hurt. I just didn't want to knit. And we don't know what caused it. I'm probably going to have to go for some allergy testing, even though I did that about 5 years ago and also about 15 years ago. And I know things can change. This is not this is the second episode in a row where I've talked about my medical problems. God, I hope you guys are here for it. Anyway, so all that to say, I did get a lot of knitting done this week. I probably could have got more done if not for this, like, god-awful. It's more than hives, I think, now. Now it's just like I have the plague or something. Anyway, let's talk about knitting, because this is a knitting podcast. If you're new here, welcome. This is a mostly knitting podcast. Although tangentially, it's a What's Ailing Jamie podcast, apparently. Yeah, so. Oh, I do have some other crafty stuff to talk to you about, which I'm really excited about. Okay. So, if you were here last episode, I revealed the beginnings of a test knit that I'm doing for Maral of Knitting Ruined My Life. I test knit before for her the Cowgirl crop, which I'll insert a photo here. And her new pattern, which is in testing, is the Barbie crop. And I've made progress. So I think last episode, maybe I just had the flowers. Then I've progressed through the heels and the purses. And I'm actually, let's see. So I have it. Oh no, I do have it on the needles. I guess it's like hitting my hips. I probably am going to knit maybe another 3 or 4 rounds and then do the ribbing for the hem. But this was so addictive to knit. I mean, how cute is it? Her patterns are just phenomenal. So I'll probably finish this weekend, and the sleeves are going to be short. They'll just have a little bit more of the black main color, and then the ribbing too. So the pattern calls for the ribbing to be in the main color, which for me would be the black, but I think doing it in contrast colors is really fun. So maybe I'll do the waist in the pink, like the neck, and then the sleeves in the orange. I think that would be fun. So if you don't already follow Knitting Ruined My Life on Instagram or Ravelry, definitely go give her a follow, because she has amazing designs, like probably 8 or 10 designs, and she's only been knitting for a few years. Amazing. So I think last episode I talked a lot about what I'm going to make for Rhinebeck, and I decided that this Barbie crop is going to be one of them, because last year my Cowgirl crop was one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. So this means that officially I'm almost done with my first of 3 Rhinebeck sweaters. And every year I knit 3. I start in July. I make 1 in July, 1 in August, 1 in September, in time for the October New York Sheep and Wool Festival weekend extravaganza. So if this is one of mine and it's mid to late June right now, I am ahead of the game, which is awesome. So because of that, I did some other knitting. And I have a finished object for you. So this is the Manhattan hat. I had cast this on a few weeks ago while vending at the Tip of the Mitt Fiber Festival, just so I had something mindless to work on in my booth in case I had some downtime. And this was yarn left over from my warm-up sweater, which I knit about 6 months ago. I'll insert a photo. And I just had like a ball of DK and a ball of mohair left over in this harvest colorway. This is my own hand-dyed yarn. And I did the math and I figured out I had enough for a hat. So I like to use up my scraps. And I would say I'm having a pretty good hair day, so I don't want to ruin my hair. And I always feel like my curly hair and my ears that stick out, are not that conducive to a hat, but maybe it's more in my head. It's pretty cute. Ugh, my hair. My hair. I prefer to straighten my hair when I wear a hat, but it's not winter. Anyway, I think that's pretty cute. So I got a pom-pom for it. I love these fluffy pom-poms, and I'm really happy. This was a quick, fun knit. Did I say this is the Manhattan hat? By Tori Yu. Great pattern. So that was one thing. And then I think I'd mentioned I really wanted to cast on the Anker summer top by Petite Knit. There's the Anker tee, and then the Anker summer top, and then the Anker cardigan, and then like a bunch of baby versions of things. There's an Anker hat, and I think it's Anker. Anyway, so I was good on my word, and I cast it on, and I'm nearly done with the yoke. I cast this on Wednesday night. Today is Friday. So I am cruising. I absolutely love this. Oh, and I should tell you about the yarn. The yarn is 100% mulberry silk that I got from Kelly Miller of the Miller Girls. She is a fellow Michigan-based yarn vendor, and just look at that shine. So amazing. And I really love ivory. I wanted something light and summery, and I'm really enjoying this so far. So this is DK weight, and the Barbie crop is also DK weight. So I kind of feel like this is the summer of the DK weight tee, which is great. And if you're new here, I'm hosting a make-along here on the podcast, and we have a forum over on Ravelry where you can post to Instagram with hashtag #TOffSpringMAL, make-along, where there will be prizes in mid-July when it ends, and you can knit or crochet any tee or tank pattern. Post to Instagram with the hashtag or in the Ravelry forum for a chance to win a prize. It's just very casual, very low-key, just let's make tees and tanks. Speaking of tees, I didn't talk about what I'm wearing yet, which I feel like I should do. This is the Abidos top by, her name literally just escaped me, Lily Kate France. And this is DK weight merino and cotton. Actually, I have some of it right here. This is my own hand dyed. There are kits for this in the shop. So it's the cotton and then mohair for this yoke thing. So this is 50% cotton, 50% superwash merino, and it feels like, you know how sometimes cotton yarn is stiff? This is not. I mean, the drape is really nice. This sample was knit for me by my friend, who I adore, and did a lovely job. And I cannot say enough good things about this design. And to toot my own horn, this yarn is really great. It's so comfortable. I love it. So there's still some kits for this in the shop, or you could kind of build your own kit if you were interested with, this is the sheep in a tee base. And you could, you know, pick your colorway and then pair it with whatever mohair you wanted. So, yeah. I feel like DK is the sweet spot. It's fast to knit, but lightweight enough that it's, you know, good for like all seasons. So, Also, if you're new here, you're probably like, what is that yellow thing that's floating at the bottom of the sweater? This is my SOS chords, which, hold that thought. This is a little set that's in my shop, and it contains 3 chords. They are made of silicone, and they're hollow. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So you put your needle tip in there and you slide your stitches on for purposes of trying on your sweater, putting your sleeve stitches on hold. I was watching actually a really popular podcast who will remain nameless the other day, and she was talking about putting her sweater on scrap yarn to try it on. And I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Like, it's so tedious to put stitches from scrap yarn back on your needle, that this is where these cords make your life easy. So yeah, I put this on the cords just so that it would lay out and I could show you kind of what the yoke looks like, not all scrunched up on the needle, but I'll just put the cord back on my needle and run the stitches back onto my knitting needle. And there you go. So if you haven't already tried these cords, they are in the shop. They come in 2 sizes and they are a total game changer. So we crafty people are kind of always looking for like other crafty pursuits in addition to knitting. I know a lot of you sew or do all sorts of other things. And I have been wanting to find something to kind of mix it up a little bit, but I couldn't quite decide what it was going to be. Well, anyway, there is a used bookstore in my area that is really like a hidden gem. And I was in there the other day, and I was on my way out the door when I noticed they had these origami gift sets on a shelf, and it's sealed. I mean, this thing is huge. And I learned origami in like 3rd grade. My class, which at the time I was living in Alaska on a military base, and my school had a foreign exchange student who I want to say was probably a college student. She was from Japan, and she spent a whole semester with us. And a big part of our classroom curriculum was Japanese culture. We learned numbers, and I'm sure we learned a whole lot of words. And I remember learning how to write a lot of the Japanese characters. And we did a lot of origami. We had Japanese food, and it was a really great like highlight of my educational years. And I haven't really done origami since, but when I saw this set, I was so excited. So I haven't opened it yet, but I'm thinking that this is going to be something that is going to be kind of a nice change of pace. And how cool would it be to have like origami decor around my knitting room? I think that would be great. So this includes like a whole bunch of sheets in different sizes, the bone folding tool and scoring tool, and a work mat and a guide. And I'm really excited for this. And this thing was only $9.50. So this is going to be a short and sweet episode, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing and hitting the bell notification button. And I always forget to say this, but show notes are down below in the description box where I link to everything I talk about, except for the hives. I'm not going to link to anything about that. So disgusting. Thank you for sticking with me through my leprosy. Thank God I don't have it on my face or arms or torso. It's just my hands and legs. It's so weird. Anyway, I think that's a wrap for this episode. Comment below what you're knitting on. And, oh, Michigan people. I know a lot of you who watch are from Michigan, just like me. I just signed up to vend in Jackson at the end of July at the Wine and Wool Festival at the Sandhill Crane Winery. So I know a lot of you are kind of in that mid-Michigan area. So if you are going to that, I'll see you there. Anyway, I hope you all are having a great weekend or weekday whenever you're watching this. And until next time, happy knitting!